Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my 34 weeks pregnancy update. Today, according to the Bump app, the baby is the size of a butternut squash, is around 17.7 inches and still weighs like 4 to 6 pounds. I think the Bump app and the Ovia app both say different things as far as weight goes, but if you guys have been following along so far, you know that our baby was weighing right around 5 pounds at, I believe, like 32 weeks. So I'm sure he's probably closer to like between 5 and 6 pounds by now. So as I've been doing, I will go ahead and read you guys some of the symptoms that the Bump app says that I should have experienced this past week. So the Bump app says blurry vision. It says created by a combination of hormones, fluid buildup, and lack of sleep. And I feel like that has been pretty true for me this past week. It's actually one of the symptoms that I wrote down myself, is that I've been wearing my glasses a lot more often this past week because I do feel like my vision is slightly more blurry. Like I can barely see myself in the viewfinder right now. Fatigue, yes, fatigue has been major this past week. Right around like the afternoon, like 2 o'clock or so, which it's coming up on that right now. It's like 1:22 in the afternoon. I usually feel like I can just fall asleep right away. But yeah, so the exhaustion has been really real this past week. Constipation and hemorrhoids. Yeah, I do feel like I've had a bit of like tummy troubles this past week. And I feel like it's been kind of like a combination of things. So constipation and just having like an upset stomach and stuff like that. And I actually did end up getting hemorrhoids. So that's a little bit TMI, but you're watching a pregnancy update and I'm sure you guys would like to know these types of things. So yeah, that's happening. Swollen ankles and feet. I have not had any swelling yet, thankfully. My wedding ring is still on and it still feels like it's fine. And I mean, usually like if I get really hot is when my hands feel swollen, but I think that's pretty much normal. And then the last symptom that the Bump app says is that you should probably feel a lot of pressure down lower in your pelvis and have even more frequent peeing. So yeah, I do feel like I've been peeing a lot more frequently, and I do feel like he is really like deep down there in my pelvis, and it's causing a lot of like hip pain and stuff, which I'll talk a little bit more about in just a minute. So that's it for the Bump app, and I will go ahead and get into the symptoms that I've taken notes on this past week. So if you guys are interested, just keep watching. So the first thing that I have written down is that this past week I have felt a little bit more like myself, and by that I basically just mean that ever since we had that scare and we had to go into the OB triage to make sure that I wasn't in preterm labor. Sorry for the noise outside. But to make sure that I wasn't in preterm labor, ever since then, I had like a couple of weeks where I was just like mentally not too well. Like I was kind of depressed about everything, and I just wasn't feeling well at all. I was feeling like extremely exhausted and just not like myself. So since then, I think this past week has been the week that I've mostly felt more like myself. Like I even painted my nails, so I was like, wow, like this is actually, I'm actually kind of getting to the point where I'm feeling a little more normal. Another thing that has been somewhat new for me, if you guys have been following along so far, you know that I haven't really had too much heartburn during this pregnancy, and this past week I actually did have a little bit of heartburn, and it wasn't too bad, which it's so funny because before pregnancy I used to get heartburn all the time. And now that I'm pregnant, like I've rarely gotten heartburn at all, except for like this past week. I had it maybe like 2 or 3 times. So heartburn has been one of the newer symptoms. I've also been waking up in the middle of the night and I'm practically drenched in sweat. So what I ended up doing to kind of like help with that is I went and got one of those like sleep bras, I guess. It's like a nursing sleep bra because I know I'm gonna need, or I probably will need nursing bras. So I went ahead and just bought nursing bras, and I've just been sleeping in like a bra at night and some shorts because it's just been so hot. And even when I'm sleeping in just that, I'll wake up and I'm like still sweating. Another thing that's been happening in the middle of the night too is that I'll wake up and I feel like my mouth is just super dry. So I always make sure that I have lots of water beside my bed, and especially like super cold, like iced water in like a thermal type of cup, because in the middle of the night when you wake up and you're pregnant and like your mouth is super dry and you're hot, iced water is like amazing to you. So another thing that's been happening at night, which it seems like everything usually gets a lot worse at night. I don't know if you guys feel this way too, but I always feel much better in the mornings. I guess because my body has gotten, you know, rest. But at night, like once it hits like 5 o'clock or so, right when my poor husband gets home, he has to hear me complain, because that's usually when like my back really just starts hurting. I usually start having more Braxton Hicks contractions and I'm just ready for bed. And like I said, it just seems like everything just gets worse at night. But then another newer symptom that I've been having is usually when I sleep on one side or the other, if I'm sleeping on, like, let's just say my right side, and I want to move it, I want to roll over, which is like a huge task when you're this far along in your pregnancy. When I want to roll over, I feel this like really sharp stabbing pain in whatever side that I had been laying on, in my like lower abdomen on that side. And I don't know, it doesn't really feel like the round ligament pain. I'm wondering if it's kind of just like his head is like lodged in my pelvis from the way that I was laying, and just rolling over is causing some discomfort. So I thought I was going crazy and hearing things, but apparently this is actually pretty common. So I noticed that every once in a while I'll hear this like either popping or like clicking sound that comes from my belly. And like I said, I honestly thought that I was hearing things, but once I tried to do some research on it, apparently it can be a couple of different things. Like it can be when the baby is moving, and that's usually when I hear it, is when the baby is moving a lot. It actually is just your amniotic fluid like creating bubbles, and the air bubble is just popping and you can actually hear it. Or it could also be the baby's joints, or just the baby like making kind of weird noises with their mouth. Let me know if you guys have had that happen to you at all. I have still been having quite a bit of Braxton Hicks contractions, so I don't think that's going to be going away anytime soon, but they definitely haven't been as like frequent and strong as they were when we had our hospital visit. And I haven't had them along with like the lower cramps and back pain, but I am still having a lot of back pain. I have mostly like lower back pain and a lot of hip pain. So I've had a few of you guys ask me about our birth plan, if we have one. And to be honest with you, we don't really have like a super strict birth plan or anything. We kind of understand that whatever needs to happen medically is what is going to be best for the baby and myself. And I think that you know, is something that we realize, and that we kind of want to make sure that we are realistic about it and we don't have too high of expectations and like set these expectations and are let down by any means, because that's the last thing that I want, is to be disappointed by how the birth went. If we actually had like a set birth plan. I mean, we did actually fill out this questionnaire that our hospital gave us, and it was kind of just your basic questions, like what your wishes are as far as if you prefer to have a natural birth over a C-section, which we do. And I'm hoping that I can deliver him vaginally, but if we have to have a C-section and that's medically necessary, then like I said, I don't feel like I'll be as disappointed, because I'm not like, I have to have a vaginal delivery, even though that is like really, really what I want and I'm hoping for. I think that I am pretty realistic about it and understand that a C-section is possible. And I do plan on getting an epidural, because everyone that has, that I've spoken to about whether or not you should get an epidural, they have all said like the epidural was life-changing, and that it made things so much easier. And I think whatever it takes to just make the process easier is what you should do, especially if you're kind of nervous about the birth and everything, which as we get closer, I do feel like I am nervous. I feel like I'm ready, but I do feel like I'm pretty nervous about it. I just want everything to go as smoothly as possible. I think that's what everybody wishes. And yeah, I just hope that everything goes smooth and that there aren't any complications and that he comes out healthy. And yeah, I think I'll be happy with whatever happens as long as he's healthy and I was able to get through it okay. So that's actually all that I have for you guys today. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know what you guys have been experiencing in your 34 weeks, or if you're close to 34 weeks, let me know what you guys have been experiencing this past week and let me know how far along you guys are. I love to hear from y'all, and I really, really appreciate your support. And as always, if you guys liked this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It means a lot to me. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and follow along on my pregnancy journey. I'd love to have you. I will be posting hopefully like a birth vlog and everything. So you guys look out for that. Hopefully not anytime soon. But yeah, there will be some sort of birth vlog. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.